development agenda. The National Land Policy provides a clear framework for addressing land rights, promoting investment.
Is thinking about what are their aspirations, their challenges, what are their needs. Is to create a platform where ministers in different sectors and the entire team can interface with the public so you can ask relevant questions about their sectors. I'd like to first of all welcome officials who are here today. Senior government officials are here, governors are here, PSCs are here, the Director of Department of Information Services is here, the advisor to the minister is here, Deputy Chief of Staff is here, from the Physical Planning Department staff are here, and also we have members of the public are here, students from UTG are also here, and we welcome you all. But most important, I'd like to welcome the Honorable Minister of Lands, Regional Government and Religious Affairs, Honorable Hamad N.K. Ba, who is our guest today. The President himself has called the Minister Bu Amud Fasong. So therefore today, this Mansa-Kunda is Mansa-Kunda Bu Amud Fasong. It's going to be the Mansa-Kunda of the year. I know the whole country has been always calling me, asking me, when is Honorable Hamad Ba coming? I said, just be patient, Hamad Ba will come. Today he is here, and he's here to interface with the public. And you can ask any questions ranging from this new land policy, of course. His desire to build 10,000 homes, affordable homes for Gambians. That is visionary. That shows that he's a visionary leader. Housing is a critical issue today in the Gambia. As we become more urban, rural urban migration, today over 60% of the population live in urban Gambia, so housing is a need, and he has a vision and the foresight to start an initiative to build 10,000 homes. The issue of the pilgrimage, one of the most successful seasons in the pilgrimage was this year, and he single-handedly led it. So we thank him, and we thank him and his entire team for coming. We welcome you all. Mbadingol Mbaltentula Mbal Jaila, Mbal Jala Nabi Mansa-Kunda, Ministerial Town El Kafai Mansa-Kunda. President of Fongole Nim Program of Sabati. Akonya ko minister lafta mala filo tara Mansa-Kunda ni banko dingol timba Mansa-Kunda mu karafolati ni moy karafa fenna e nyante ka faye ba marang kunka nyameng ako lafta ka long banko dingol ya long Mansa-Kunda mo ne kuto luolung bari fanang Mansa-Kunda salo mo ne banko dingol la sula fengol ti ela miro anen kulmi hati wala na nyim Mansa-Kunda nga organize nka minister fi nang ina inim banko dingol kasika kacha e ka fa banko dingol be mundo kusifal banko dingol fanang se nyininka ro mialang golle kum mayata bidung nga minister soroja minister kumarimba minister mialong ate maralim banku kola aning Mansa-Kunda dingol kola aning dino bundala minister de kafa honorable Hamad NK Ba mol mita nyinila e konyo ka fena Mansa-Kunda bidung nga soroja ne andum bi ngalo Mansa-Kunda be dela bake Mansa-Kunda melong kanere Mansa-Kunda wal be sorola bi dande be jam fala nak milalong ko le bi jam bi mi wara Mansa-Kunda permanent secretary bi janne bi deputy permanent secretary bi janne advisor bi janne governor bi janne ani Mansa-Kunda do kulal bijanne ani banko dengol bijanne bi dum be diala bake honorable Hamad NK Ba fanam bijanne anala do kunyol anala pieso anala di pieso odo be nyinin kar balbulu keno wala ko bundala Mansa-Kunda dengol la ko bundala ani dino la ko bundala ning hijo mi alon ko mota wala kono teng mi alon ko bengalo no kata kutale molbe contanta bi alsa nyinin kan wala woto mbaten to lamba jela altol mi alon ko alben jube kan kabo sokono milbe gambe jang ani mantala bankon kan bi na Mansa-Kunda be kela Mansa-Kunda te mi alon ko anete sotola mbokay di len dalal suñ ministerial town hall bu ñu oye Mansa-Kunda tay ajuma jurom fukk ak ben fan ci july di wone nak Mansa-Kunda bi nak president mi ci bopam moko jaglal askan bi wax ñu ne bu go dérero am digante askan bi ak nguur gi moy lan dafa buga parce que xamna ne nguur denkaane la buga na xam la askan bi di jankuwantel bes bu ne la moy sen xalaat lan moy sen bebet ak li nga xamne mom moy seni jafe-jafe waye tamit buga na tamit askan bi xam lan la nguur gi di doxé lan lañ nekk di def ak suñ pas-pas ak suñ ene pour askan bi mota programme ñu jaglal ko askan bi di isi ministre buy ñew ñaari ajuma bu ne mu ñoo jàkkaarloog askan bi ñu waxtaan askan bi laaj ko li nga xam ne moom lañ bëgg a xam si liggéeyam waaye moom tamit wax askan bi lan la moo liggéeyee kon loolu am solo la te nag am nañ ministre bu amut façon boobu président bi si boppam moo ko tuddee kon te Mansa-Kunda bu amut façon la ñu am nañ honorable Hamad NK Ba ñëpp di ko ut nag ñëpp di ko laaj ne kan lañ ko isi si Mansa-Kunda bi te nag isi nañ ko am nañ ko mu ngi jàkkaarloo ak askan bi am na nag ak teamam ñi mu àndal ñi nga xam ne ñooy liggéey ñoom ñi moo liggéeyal mooy PSM yi ak BPSM yi balaa maa sori nag na nuyu jaajëfal ñi nga xam ne ñoo ñëw tey gouverneur yaa ngi fi PS yaa ngi fi DPS yaa ngi fi advisor yaa ngi fi government officials yaa ngi fi di dalal ñëpp si Mansa-Kunda bi waaye nag di dalal ñi nga xam ne ñoo nekk kër di ñu seetaan ñi nga xam ne ñoo nekk biir Gambie fii ak ñu nekk bitim réew di gërëm ñëpp di sant yëpp man nag suma kaddu nag duy bari si Mansa-Kunda bi man dama xuus rek te nag bési Hamad NK Bala yaakamti naa ko am si Mansa-Kunda bi askan bi yaakamti nañ ko am te nag am nañ ko balaa ñoo sori dinañ ko oo mu ñëw nañ ko may xam naa ne moom moo ko way ne 20 minutes la mu ne noo 3 hours la soxla waaye mun ma ko jox 3 hours dinaa ko jox 20 minutes mu ñëw wax ñu ministre bi naka la moo doxee xam nañ ne am na yéene ak pas-pas pour tabax li nga xam ne mooy fukki junne kër pour ñi nga xam ne dañ néew doole surtout ñi liggéey si nguur gi loolu nag gis-gis bu yaatu la te tey na si waxtaan na si xuus si biir waxtaan googu noonu tamit bu yàggul ni am na ñu dem Màkka dem aji ñëwaat dem na yoon ñëpp kontaan nañ dina ñëw xuus si loolu tamit kon naa ko bàyyi mu ñëw waxtaan ak ñun 20 minutes su paree ñu play benn vidéo bu ndaw su ko defee moom tamit ñi mu àndal ku nekk wax ñu seen tur ak li ñoo liggéey si ministre bi su ko defee ñu ubbi waxtaan bi ku am laaj loo ko laaj rek nga laaj ko mu ansa ko jërëjëf.
Good evening, Honorable Minister and Permanent Secretaries, Governors, Deputy Permanent Secretaries, Directors, Senior Government Officials, and members of the media, and other guests here present to witness tonight's program. And I think, as the Honorable Minister said, a lot of people are watching us, including my principal. So everybody is expecting this thing to be a very interesting interaction. And we hope to do our very best to share as much information as possible in order to satisfy your inquisity, your desire to know more how this government works since 2017 to date. And very especially, we will also speak on what we call some of the ongoing activities at the Ministry of Lands, Regional Government and Religious Affairs. Honorable Minister, let me begin by saying that we thank you very specially for initiating this when you were newly appointed as Minister of Information, Communication and Media. We thank you so much. You have been very much there for the public, and you do not fear the microphone. You do not fear being confronted by questions and other issues that are related to your job, particularly when it comes to giving information about this government. So we are grateful to you immensely, and we thank you, yourself, your family, your party, and your staff at your ministry, and the various agencies that are attached to your ministry. Thank you so much. And as I said, a couple of years ago, when you started your Gis program on GRTS, I watched you every day. I said, stop this boy. He's a dangerous chap. He's coming. And I said, we have to stop him on Gis. This program must come to an end. I was one of those who initiated you being stopped in that program. And when you form your party, I said, let's be very careful. This chap, when we are gone, these are the people who are coming on board. He's one of them. We'll be gone, and I believe you have a political career and a future in politics. Keep it up. I've watched you at a distance, listening to your utterances, your comportment, and your behavior, and I believe that President Barrow did not make a mistake in bringing you into government to learn, to study, to see how government works. And you are doing that very well. Thank you. Keep it up. Now, just to come to give you a bit of synopsis of what the Ministry of Land, Regional Government, Religious Affairs is doing as we speak at the moment. It's not been an easy appointment. Let me recognize the arrival of my colleague, Mr. Minister Job, who is also the Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture. Mr. Job, you most welcome. When I was given this appointment, it was a difficult decision to make. When I was called by the president to say, look, I was out of the country. He said, I really want to see you. Then I became very suspicious of that. Usually we speak very often. So the reason wanting to see me when I am away, and we couldn't discuss it on the phone, I had a suspicion that something fundamental must be ongoing. When I came, he said, I want to move you through the Ministry of Land, Regional Government, Religious Affairs. It was a very shocking moment for me. As you know how attached I am to tourism and to the sector and the efforts we have made in the sector with the World Bank and all the rest of it. It was a difficult decision for me, difficult moment that time. He said, look, I trust you, and I trust you can go and do the job there. And I think you need to go and do this job. And then I paused for I said, Mr. President, I accept in good faith. I will take the job. He said, it will not be easy, but I know you can do it. You can go and do the needful in that ministry. I didn't sleep for a couple of nights because I was leaving a sector that I became so attached to, and I love doing that. But national duties, when you are called anywhere, you need to avail yourself to that particular task. And I felt it was important and time to move. Yes, we started the journey. As you are aware, it is important that when you run an institution, there are certain instruments that need to be in place. Number one is a policy that directs the strategy in which you run that particular institution for a successful deliberation of your objective. Therefore, having for the first time a land policy so comprehensive, so participatory, was key in this. We found they started somewhere, but because the political will was there, we added impetus in making sure that this policy was delivered to the people of the Gambia. And proudly today I'm saying the policy is 99.9% ready to be delivered to this nation. The 1% is left because I still have some cabinet colleagues who need to make some inputs in it, so that this is the policy that has been the most widely discussed policy in the Gambia. There is nobody in the Gambia, even in the diaspora, who will tell you that I was not aware how this policy was being built, and I wanted to participate and could not participate. Nobody in this country. And then it incorporated the views of many people who felt that they were left out, who felt that they were not part of it, who felt that they were deprived of their fundamental rights of ownership. Everybody's views was brought into this policy. And surprisingly, the Combo Yiru Akafo, one of the most important bodies when it comes to land issue, all the views of this organization were incorporated in the policy, to my surprise. And that, I believe, taking into account that this country is one of the smallest, but one of the fifth most densely populated country in Africa. And almost all these countries, with the exception of Mauritius and Gambia, have gone to war because of land. So it was timely for President Barrow to come with a policy that would guide the management and usage of land in the next 10 years in this country, so as to avoid the conflicts and the crisis that we face today. Today, between 70 to 80% of all our court cases in our courts is on land matters and land issues. Therefore, we were at a crisis point. It was important to come up, use the men and women with knowledge and values to help support, build a policy that would once and for all address 95% of our problems in this sector. And it started. The policy, the key issues of the policy are on one, digitalization of land records. It is important that we avoid the duplication. We avoid the way we prepare our lease documents. We avoid the issue of two people being given ownership of one piece of land. And also, you have a situation where the principal cannot tell you which land is used from his office, or you or any other Gambian cannot tell. But once digitalized, the issue of duplication and crisis will certainly be over, because everything will be transparent for everybody to see. Which land is available, which land is here, which land is not used, which land is who owns that, who owns what. And that means we will be safe with that. The other issue is about gender equity in land ownership. Our women have been deprived for too long in terms of ownership of land. In our village, in my village, and most of us in our villages, when our parents die, our sisters don't inherit land. They only inherit the land in the furrows, but not the upland. They are deprived of that. This policy will put an end to that. Women will stand firm to have the right to own land, inherit land, wherever the land is, as long as they have a right to it. Customary tenure formalization. And the biggest problem today we have is the land tenure system, where the issue of formalizing ownership, title, has become a problem. Encouragement, all the dirty things that you are seeing happening is because families don't have title to land that they own. And they are subject to abuse by officials, by other unscrupulous individuals. But once now title ownership is made available to a family or to a community, nobody will tamper with that. The other one is about environmental safeguards. This is again important. We cannot just be destroying our environment without making sure that our land, our vegetation, our usage of this land take into a factor of environmental consequences of bad management of land. And this policy, again, will safeguard that. We all know that climate change is a reality. Whether we like it or not, it's a reality that we are faced with. And therefore, putting in measures, policies that will protect that is long overdue. And this policy will address that. The other one is community engagement in planning. It is important that whatever government do, any other institution, the owner, the people who live there, need to be part of the planning process, and they must take ownership of projects. Some of our projects fail because the projects were imposed on them. They have no idea this project. You just wake up, come and start a project within a community. The community don't even know what you are doing. And at the end, they tend to retire from the project, and eventually, when the project is phased out, it goes dead. And I think some of these things, the policy will address it, that ownership of a project that you want to implement within a community or within a set of environment. Dispute resolution mechanism. We also have that embodied in the policy, where we can resolve issues without resorting to the courts. Some of them have been in court for 10 years, 15 years, 7 years, without resolution. Yet still their investment is in trouble. Because once you get to the court, you cannot get a decision from the court. You're worried about how you invest on that land. And we want to put an end to that by bringing mechanism where you can resolve this thing. And finally, let me say, the Gambia government is on the verge of setting up a special court for lands. And I think the Minister of Justice updated me. They've gone too far in getting that done. So we thank the Attorney General, Minister of Justice, for coming up with that initiative under the leadership of His Excellency President Adam Barrow. We have realized how the issue of land management, land use has become a problem in this country. The other one is about development of a land information system supported by the World Bank under the WACA project. Stages of progress, assessment of land information infrastructure is done, roadmap for the development of land information system is done, development of TOR for the land information system is done. Next step is to advertise for the TOR for companies to apply for the development and implementation of the land information system. Legal reforms. We all know that some of the laws are conflicting. A lot of other issues need to be in line with the policy that you want to pursue as a government. And if there is a conflict within that law, unless you address that by amending the laws, you will have a challenge in time to implement these laws. And that's why we want to avoid being caught somewhere, to make sure that all the issues that have been recognized by consultants, by experts, we make sure that where the law needs to be amended, we amend the law. And that's why we are coming up with the review of the review and amendment of the Physical Planning and Development Control Act regulations, drafting the real estate bill, NGO bill, drafting of Hajj policy. The drafting of the real estate bill, we have started, but we need to move quicker and faster because it's becoming a serious threat, where institutions have been robbed. We now believe over $500 million have been robbed from Gambians by these agents, some of these agents. And no doubt, GRTS is a victim. GRTS of one is a victim of this robbery of agents, some of these agents that I know I'm privy to. So I think it's high time we come with a control measure that would address these people. Yes, some of them are genuine, honest, doing a good job, but we have a lot of them who are doing a very bad thing for our country. And it's high time as a government we take up the responsibility to address that by creating the necessary legal legislation and creating the regulation to regulate this sector. It's been left too long unattended to, whilst some of them have been robbing Gambians. The evidence are there. The study is disturbing. The outcome of the study we received is a very disturbing. It makes a very disturbing reading. But that's why this ministry, under the guidance of His Excellency, will take the bull by the horn to make sure that a legislation in place, regulation in place to manage them. The other one is the NGO bill. We have too many NGOs that have been coming to this country with different agendas, with different programs, they have not been regulated. And I think we believe as a country, we owe it to our people to regulate who comes here, who does what, how it is done, when it is done, where it is done. And unless we have the legislation in place, proper legislation, we will not be able to. That bill is almost completed. I think we are now finally getting it. We sat on it just to review the bill a couple of weeks ago, and very soon the bill will be submitted to Cabinet for consideration for onwards presentation to the National Assembly for enactment. The bill is already done. And the other one is the drafting of the Hajj policy. When we came in, we found no Hajj policy. I saw things were happening from left, right, and center. There was a loose end. Everybody was just doing whatever you want to do with it. I came in, it was too late to change things because I did not want to do that. But I observed keenly, seeing what was happening. And I felt very disturbed. And I said, this time round, we will make sure we do the needful. Very unpopular, but very necessary. Hajj cannot be a business enterprise for reaping of profit from poor, committed, religious, Muslim, Gambian Muslims who want to perform this obligation. What I first discovered was the policy. Honorable Minister, can you come forward? That's Honorable Minister Boy also joining us. Was that there was no mechanism as to how to determine the price, the Hajj package price. There was no mechanism. I think people will just come with their cost. Some of them flying on business class, going to say they are inspecting facilities, and culminate with it, sit down, and present a figure to say this is the Hajj package. I said no. I got in very qualified permanent secretaries and very qualified Hajj members and some members of the National Assembly. Say, look, study what happened last year, give us what happened this year, and then we'll know now how we do the package. When we did the study, we realized that there was $220 cheaper from the package we had last year. I said, wow, if that is the case, from last year we are $200 cheaper, we will now take $100 to add it to, $80 to add it to our package in Minna, because last year there was crisis in Minna, everybody witnessed that, and that Gambians were in class D, we now bring them to class C. And then we also realized that the air ticket flight was 500 and the entire package, 531. We said, let's reduce $6,000 from the package and offer the Gambian for the first time a reduced package. Because, you see, what we have to understand, we looked at this, how much some of these agents were making, money. And what we realized as a government, if we don't control this Hajj, only the rich people will go to Mecca. Those so-called VIPs, VIP Hajj, everything will be sold to VIPs. We said, no. Some of our people farm for 5 years gathering their money. Some of them sell their livestock. Some of them sell their land. Some of them, their children hustle to take them to Mecca. You leave them at the mercy of people who talk about VIP. When we get to Mecca this year, in this Hajj, some people went and demanded their money back. Some paid as much as £9,000 for this Hajj package. They were demanding pay back their money when they saw what the Gambians are paid and staying in the facility. Government have to control this. It must be controlled. Because it's our responsibility as a government. And then from last year, when I reviewed the report, I realized that some of our pilgrims were staying in almost 13, 14 different places, in different places. And in some cases, the doctors cannot reach out to these people for 3, 4 days. I said we must put that to an end. Everybody will stay in this hotel. Unless you make arrangement with the guy we signed the contract, we will make sure that you stay in the same hotel. And we went for a hotel where nobody expect a country like Gambia to stay in that hotel. We stayed with Morocco, we stayed with Syria, we stayed with Tunisia, other big Gulf states in the same hotel. 4-star. Yes, they say it was hilly. We told them to provide bus services for those who needed it. And we had a Hajj commission that worked very hard this year. They spared not a single minute in making sure that they did the Hajj very well. And even our government officials who were there took part in the process to make sure that the Hajj succeeded. So we thank all of you for that. Reform is not easy because there are those who feel offended. Let me remind them, we reserve the right to give GIA to do this Hajj 100% as a government. Government reserved the right. What the Yahya Jammeh did and what happened before, we could do the Hajj with GIA. And everybody becomes an agent. And the idea of killing GIA, I will never be a party to it. GIA had over 400 employed Gambians. Why should we kill GIA to make few others succeed, survive, and the 400 Gambians go without a job? And that's why they tendered for the aircraft, for lifting of pilgrims. When they tendered, they won the tender. People went on open Gambia, they call it, insulting this regime, saying that Hajj will fail this year. Nobody will go to Mecca. They were proved wrong. People went to Mecca, came back to Mecca before even the expected time. And GIA did it 100%. Therefore, our state agencies, our state enterprise, we must protect them to preserve the jobs of Gambians in this sector. And we are very proud of GIA for the wonderful job that they have done. And I think giving it to another company would have killed GIA this year. That would have been the last for them. And we believe that today the 300-400 Gambians who are working there are comfortable with their jobs. They are guaranteed job. And we will learn from the outcome of the report this year. We have independent people who went there. All the parties in parliament were represented in Mecca. So we want them to come forward, give us a report. Government will review the report. And then where we need to adjust, we'll adjust. The policy is ready. The regulations have been drafted. We'll subject them to validation. Nobody can stop government from reforming this Hajj. Even the inspection of their rams. This year the Hajj Commission did. the cost of their rams, the Hajj Commission did. So let them understand that this government is here. It's not Ahmad Ba. They were praying at the Kaaba for Ahmad Ba to die or whatever. No, I'm telling you, yes. Somebody got me some information, recording video. I had it. I'm not interested with that. It's not about me. If I leave tomorrow, somebody else will come and do more than what I'm doing. To reform, to protect the interests of Gambians at every level. That's the president's objective. That the Gambians' interest will stand number one before any other individual interest. So we are not against anybody. But let them understand that GIA have the capacity to carry out Hajj. In other countries, agents only sell tickets. And the national carrier, the national commission rather, does the package. The Hajj operations. We are not going there. We want them to cooperate, work with us, we do what's possible. But the issue of overcharging our people, making sure that Gambians can no longer go to Mecca, is only the rich that can go to Mecca, will not happen under our watch. We will control the price, the package, we'll manage it, we'll improve on it until we deliver better services every year. So I thank Gambians for supporting this process. And those who resisted, who go on social media, some of them who confess to the GIA Director General, confessed. It's easy to confess. Next time you confess, we take you to court. Because if you have issue, come and take it up with us. You cannot go on castigating government, castigating people when you know that what you are saying is not true. We are open for suggestion. The policy will be floated for people to come. We discuss it. But we will not relent to protect the interests of the Gambian people. And you know what? When I started the change, my principal said, I'm with you. Every minute, every hour. But you cannot fail. If you fail, you pay a price. I said, Mr. President, I'm determined to pay a price, but I'm determined to make sure I will not fail. And I thank God I didn't fail. We did not fail. All of us worked together. And we had a strong team, a strong Hajj Commission, a strong, determined Ministry of Foreign Affairs, a strong, determined consulate in Jeddah, a strong, determined Gambian permanent secretaries, directors who were working with us 100%, who have the interests of this country at heart. We thank all of you for the good job you've done. Mr. Minister, I'm just concluding now. Regarding the housing, when we came in, we realized that, to be honest with you, somebody who doesn't have fish money tomorrow, you allocate him a piece of land. You don't expect him to build a house there. Next 1 hour, he's thinking of how to buy a bag of rice. So what we realize is, they will go and sell that land to Mr. Rich. Mr. Rich will keep that land. And the man go back to poverty, or woman. The next 6 months is all finished again. And will be struggling all his or her life. When you get retired, they give you, you cannot pay your rent. You still have to continue paying, you suffer for the rest of your life. When you die, 3 months, they evict you. They evict your family. You have nowhere to stay. We said, look, we have to put an end to this. Let's try to create a situation where investors will come and invest. Build this house together with government. The rent you are be paying become part of the cost of the house. In 10, 15 years, you become owner of this house. But because we don't have land in Gambia, we are not saying give us cheap houses there. We are saying affordable house that you and I can live. Now in 15 years, in 10 years, I should be able to be the owner of that house. Even if I die, my kids will stay in the house. And what we found on the ground, they will buy these plots from all these poor people, fence them. 6 years, they make millions out of it. And this policy, land policy, is addressing that. If you have land now, you fence, you will pay heavy tax to the state. So the issue of land grabbing will come to an end. This policy is putting an end to that. We all know that we've been victims, all of us. Most of us did not know how our land was managed and how our land was used. We have no idea. And to be honest, I must confess, when I took over, I did not know why everybody wanted land. I did not know. Wallahi, I'm swearing, I didn't know. So I invited somebody, a very respected person. He's hearing me. I like his level of education. Highly educated, very experienced man. I invited him to come to my office. I said, why is the problem with land? all this issue, every day I see people killing each other for land. He said, Mr. Minister, let me tell you one thing you don't know. Land is money. It's all about money. I say how he gave me an explanation about land, why land become money, how land become whatever. I came to realize now, it's time now we try to address this issue of land. I never take it. I thought only cattle are assets. No, really, I can tell you that. When I have my cattle, I believe that I have money. But I came to realize that after my discussion with that gentleman, that land is about money. That's why people are killing each other. So we believe that people who are now getting this land, fencing it, will pay a heavy price once this policy is come into place. If you are taxed heavily, you either lose the land or you surrender the land to the state. There is no choice about that. So that's why this policy is not very popular with some people. You must also accept that. But it is people's policy because they created this policy. So the Gambian people own this policy. So let's make sure that the policy will be fully implemented for the betterment of the Gambian people. So we are in this housing thing. We are working with Social Security. And right now, they are working with Celta Africa to prepare the housing diagnostic of the Gambia to be determined by the deficit, the situation of our housing sector. Social Security is working with SAFDAT now, which used to be Celta Africa. They are, in fact, meeting in Algeria in 3-4 days from now. And they are now developing a policy paper on that. And then we are trying to help them secure the land. So far, they've got one, huge one. And we're trying to make sure that they got land in strategic areas. Because people who want to buy these houses want to live in good places. This is not ordinary people. You and I want to live in big houses near the sea or near Gunjur or Sanyang. We want to build good houses so that everybody who lives there, you have somewhere to feel comfortable with. And that's what we are doing. We are not going for cheap, low-cost housing. No, we are going for affordable housing. And then we also will now want to work on what we call the SPV, the Special Purpose Vehicle, that would now have the funds where investors will invest their money, and the process, how it will go with a mortgage bank, and all the rest of it. This is the next stage that we are trying to get done through the Central Bank, Ministry of Finance, Office of the President, and all other government agencies that are related to this. So I think I have to rush this one. Capacity building. This year, so far, the World Bank project is helping us in terms of capacity building. 10 of our employees have been given scholarship for master's degree. One of them, 9 rather, one of them is BSc, fully funded by the World Bank, because we want to also increase capacity within the various agencies and departments of the ministry for them to be able to absorb. So, and that's why I believe that we have to invest money in them, train them, give them the capacity, the knowledge. And World Bank have agreed to that. We also have a program where we have internship of some of the best university graduates in this field. We have a very attractive package for them, monthly package, I think almost $10,000 a month. And we'll be recruiting some of these best graduates also to be trained, to prepare them also for another degree. At least we would have, transformed the sector, the mindset of land management and usage in the Gambia by making sure that the young Gambians are educated, given the skills, necessary weapons, or tools to be able to manage these things. So that one is ongoing. We've also working on short-term training to help them, make sure that we give them skills to start to grab up prior to the arrival of the graduates that have gone to do their masters and others to go. So it's a continuous program that we want to do. As much as we want to change, you also want to change people by giving them skills and knowledge to be able to do that. Because I believe in education. I believe in knowledge as the best weapon in making sure that you implement any policy that you want to implement it. And as you know that the policy will direct your strategy, you need men and women with knowledge to be able to do that. And that's why we are doing it together. On the governance issue, I think we are working with UNICEF. Let me read that one before my sister would be angry. She's looking at me. Governance and decentralization. Capacity building decentralization structures VDCs and VDCs supported by UNICEF under the Naskino project, training local councils in participatory budgeting, inclusive planning, supported by EU UNDP GREAT project, legal reform, review of the amendment of the Local Government Act 2002. We've gone too far with that. I think we reviewed it 1 week ago. So very soon it will be presented also to Cabinet. Review and amendment of the Financial Audit Act of 2004. Review amendment of decentralization policy of year 2000. Completion of the community development policy to be sent to Cabinet for approval. And we now have the productive economic inclusion, providing sustainable livelihood for 10,000 poor people. For 10,000 poor people, we are now doing that, and household focusing on youth, women, and PWDs in 20 poorest districts under the RISE project. Job, skills, and finance for women and youths, funded by EU through NCDF. So our community development directorate is doing a fantastic job at supporting youths and women at every level. So on that note, Mr. Minister, I would say that we avail ourselves for any question that you may be interested in. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister Hamad M.K. Bah. I think this is what we were expecting. Thank you for that very comprehensive presentation. I think your ministry is doing a lot, from coming up with a new land policy, amending the legal frameworks, making them fit for purpose for the sector, a new Hajj policy, capacity building. I believe that our audience have a lot of questions to ask on these issues. Now we'll go to your team, your PSs and DPSs, and plead with them I'll give them 3-4 minutes to tell us their names, their designation, and also exactly what they do. If they can do that in the local language of their choice, I would appreciate it. I know Mr. Tal can speak good Wolof, so I don't think I'll have a problem with him on that. The PS also, and also other PS2 also speaks good Mandinka, so I wouldn't have an issue with you on that. So please, your name, designation, what you do in the local language, please. Then we can go to question and answer. No, but before that, I think we have a short video, isn't it? 10 minutes video. So let's get the introductions first, and we go to the video. Thank you. There's a mic there.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Momodou Tal. I'm the Deputy Permanent Secretary in charge of Finance and Administration. And one of my core mandates is to help drive the administrative functions of the ministry and also participate in some of the technical work in terms of housing. I'm also the focal person when it comes to the issue of housing and affordable housing, and also the focal person for shelter and UN Habitat. So I try to help work with the ministry to lead the process in achieving the objectives of the affordable housing. Thank you.
Yes.
Alaikum. My name is Ndeye Marinjai. I'm the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Lands, Regional Government and Religious Affairs, in charge of lands, community development, administration, and finance. We have many departments, various sectors at the ministry, but it is divided into 2 sectors, like PSGI is handling this sector, and we have another permanent secretary, my colleague here, but he will introduce himself and mention his areas. So basically, my main function is lands, the most critical part of the ministry, apart from religious affairs, and general administration and finance. Thank you.
Let me just comment on something here, Mr. Minister, if you allow me. When I became Minister of Lands, I'm not used to having 2 permanent sectors. I used to have only 1 permanent secretary. And I realized that I saw a lot of conflict between permanent sectors. I said, look, I'll find a solution. There are 9 different portfolios, 9 or 10. And I divided them. Each of them knows this is your portfolio, this is your portfolio. So each director knows where to report, everybody knows where to report. But we do everything together. But then there is thing that you are in charge. When it comes, you are responsible. So there is no conflict. They're living good, working, everybody knows.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you. There's a mic there, I think.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ibrahim Asisao. Also one of the permanent secretaries at Ministry of Lands. I'm responsible for religious affairs, also local government areas, but also these of NGO affairs also falls under my mandate. I'm also responsible for all the projects at the ministry. Thank you.
Thank you. DPS, finally.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mahmoud Manjang, Deputy Permanent Secretary, Technical. I deal with the technical department, that is physical planning and lands and surveys, and also advise the Minister and the Permanent Secretary on land matters. Thank you very much.
Thank you for those brief introductions. Can we get the video, please? Is the sound on?
Conflict and uncertainty. In response, under the leadership of the Honorable Minister of Lands, Regional Government and Religious Affairs, Honorable Hamad Nkeba, the Ministry embarked on a historic journey to develop the Gambia's first ever national land policy.
When the new constitution of 1997 constitution came in, the process of land management suffered immensely. Land allocation suffered immensely. Prior to that constitution, the previous one, that was what we call the Land Allocation Board. And the Land Allocation Board, even the minister cannot interfere with. The board was so strong that the minister cannot interfere with that board decision how they do their business. And that's why you see all these layouts, climate thing, all the rest of it. You don't have the crisis you have in Salagi, you don't have the crisis you have in Bush. Because the board was strong and can defy a minister or whoever it is.
Guided by inclusivity, transparency, and national ownership, the process began with comprehensive consultations across all regions. From policymakers to community members, including women, youth, traditional leaders, and persons with disabilities, ensuring that every voice was heard. These inclusive engagements formed the backbone of the draft policy. A national technical working group comprising experts from government, civil society, and development partners guided the drafting process. Regional validation workshops, stakeholder reviews, and legal assessments were all integral. At every stage, the ministry prioritized equity, security of tenure, and responsive land use. On June 10, 2005, the ministry convened a national validation workshop, a landmark event marking the collective endorsement of the policy. This event brought together national stakeholders and international partners, reaffirming the government's commitment to inclusive and sustainable land governance. It was a moment of national pride and a key milestone in the country's development agenda. The National Land Policy provides a clear framework for addressing land rights, promoting investment, enhancing transparency, and reducing land-related conflicts. With its implementation, the Gambia will strengthen land administration, secure land tenure for all, and promote social justice, particularly for women and vulnerable groups. The Ministry remains committed to working with all stakeholders to translate this policy into action and impact. Together, we are building a land system that protects our heritage, supports our people, and secures our future. This project is supported by the World Bank through the West Africa Coastal Area Resilience Investment Project, WACA.
Thank you very much. Now it's time for Q&A. Now, as the chief journalist of this country, and also as the host of this program, I'll use this privilege to ask the first question. Honorable Hamad Ba, suma laajte be nak ci olof laa ko def. Gis nañ ne boo ñëwee ba léegi yaa ngi liggéey bu am solo. Surtout si wàllu teg ay sarta yi nga xam ne si mbiri suuf. Waa nga ko fi si angale nag waaye bëgg naa ñi nga xam ne dégguñ angale nga wax ñu lu tax nga foog ne ici ay sarta yu ees buy seetu mbiri suuf comme land pol lu tax mu am njëriñ ak lu tax nga bëgg a ici ay sarta ñi nga xam ne mooy saytu mbiri agency state agency loolu tamit am solo mooy regulation si ñetteel bi mooy gis nañ ne xaaj d'ici ya noo ko defee utee naag lu ñu ko daan defee lu tax nga foog ne am na solo pour nguur dugal ci loxoom ak noo ko doxalee d'ici ak naka la demee pour askan bi ngeen koo dégga moo ñetti laaj tey yi nga am jërëjëf.
jërëjëf honorable ministre sa laajte yooyu am na solo waaye balaa ñoo continuer dama bëgg a recognize benn gentleman koo xam ne liggéey na liggéey bu rëy ci réew mi ba pare liggéey na tam lu rëy ci policy bi wooy Mr Abdou Touré Abdou jógal ñu gis la Abdou mi nekk na permanent secretary place yu bari nekk na permanent secretary lands bi ñoo def suñ tourism policy bi $245,000 bi ñu fay UNDP daf ñu ci taxawaloon trop xaalis bi ñu fayoon I can't remember the figure exactly waaye taawoon na ci trop pour ñu mun a fay consultancy pour develop tourism policy bi bon ñu ngi laa gërëm Abdou ci liggéey bu baax bi nga def tam ci suñ ministry bi ak Gambia bi yépp despite age mu ngee ñëw sonn loo ñu gërëm la ak gërëm ñi mu doon bokkal liggéey bi li am solo mooy soo defarul loi defaruloo sarta soo fa jógee keneen bu ñëwee leneen lay def te mbir mi warta nekk individual dafa war a nekk system in place process in place yow Amat Bah boo fi jógee léegi luum ñëw fa tam lu munta jargati loi bi li loi bi wax rek lay def soo fa deful loi defuloo fa sarta lum bu ñëwee lu ko neex lay def mu sànni indi leneen loolu bokk na ci li nga xam ne moo ñu gétti noonu ci liggéey bi ci mbiri suuf ak mbiri xaaj bi ak area yi nga mention nii yépp abu ñoon anything lu laa war a gaay lu laa wax ne nii ngay defalee lii nga war a def waruloo def lii moo tax nag comme que place bi saxoo fa da nga faa génn keneen ñëw da nga fa war a def loo xam ne dafa war a sax ku ñëw da nga toppa loi boobu soo ko bëggee jàpp ñooy la déet du nii de loi waxewu ko nii def ko nii loolu mooy safeguard interest nit ñi pour gis ne loolu dafa am solo ci réew pour liggéeyukaay bu nekk dafa war a am sarta war a am guideline maa ngi fee wax léegi ci affaire yi land allocation board prior to the 1997 constitution dañ amoon land allocation board boo xam ne ministre bi mënut a interfere bu ñëw allocate land ministre mënut a interfere board bi mooy decide ni kii ak kii moo yelloo moo war a am ba constitution bi indee ñu ne indi di land commission and that defeated that purpose moo tax nga gis all the layout yi ñu def yépp is in crisis from Salaji to Burusubi everywhere we are in crisis and it's difficult to correct because system bi niñ ko léewoon ak ni mu demee dafa utee nam daan mel moo tax nag policy bi dina adresse ñun bi ñëwee dañ oote ñëpp minister du allocate land léegi the entire management team nga ñëw jox ñu sa reason ñu ida d'accord agree disagree nga am mbaa nga ñàkk am moom lañ ko doxalee ba balaa ñooy indi the amendments of the State Land Act ba para ñu indi policy bi in place nga xam ne am nañ proper regulation boo xam ne mooy saytu lépp lu jëm ci mbiri management bi loolu moo tax ñu def loolu jërëjëf. estate yi haaj bi mooy policy bi boobu di same la rek we have to have policy regulations in place. The policy is ready. We want by end of August both the policy and regulation will be in place. That cabinet would have dealt with that pour ñu régler ko parce que haaj warta nekk pour ñu am xaalis rek ñun suñ maam yi dañ daan dem Makka ñaari at ñetti at di béy di dem ba egg a Makka am na fi ñoo xam ne dañoo bay juróomi at di dajale pour dem Makka am na ñoo xam ne dañoo dog seen kër yi jaay pour dem Makka am na ñoo xam ne dañoo jaay seen jur gi pour dem Makka loolu nag boo ko bàyyee si nit ñoo xam ne price bu ne ñu tegal nit ñi te nguur gi dugalu ci loxoom bu yàggee mbaj suñ nit ñi duñ mën a demati Makka moo tax nguur gi dugal ci loxoom réguler ko dina métti de waaye dëgg bi rek na am su ko defee ñu mun a continuer ñu mun a dem mu mun a ëllëg su ma fi jógee keneen jógee fi tam loi bi système bi mu ngi in place kenn du ko mun a abuse.
jërëjëf
waaw affaire state agency yi boobu moom nu mu gën a gaawee ñu ngi ci ko am because making a law takes time moo tax ñuy njëkkee regulations pour gis ne yooyu na nekk in place pour contrôler leen ñu bàyyi li ñoo def ba pare loi bi mun a dal seen kaw buñ lekkee alali jàmbur waaw looloo tax ñu njëkkee loolu jërëjëf.
Now we go to the public. We'll take two questions at a time, one from this end and one from that end, and we'll allow the minister and his team to answer, and we'll come back. So why is the mic that is going around? And also, if you can ask your questions in the local languages, that'll be appreciative. Name, please, and your question.
My to do Ahmad Kebe Joyko Paradise TV. Paradise TV. ñi jaajëfal bu baax a baax ci taxawaay bi nga xam ne def nga ko pour ñu am njëlbéen yoon ñu am loi boo xam ne mooy régler wàllum suuf fii nii ci biir réew mi li may laajte rek mooy jëmmi jamono ci gannaaw déggoon neen coow jógoon diggante njiitum réew mi excellence Adama Barrow ak ki nga xam ne moo nekk former vice président Lawyer Ousainou Darboe mooy suuf si nga xam ne kii ne jox neen ko kii ne joxuñ ko ñu dégg ci coow lu bari ba léegi dara leer ci man dégguma lu ci leer ci joxe suuf liñ ci dégg yëpp mooy ñi nga xam ne dañ am doole maanaam jàpp ne kan mën nañu amal seen bopp kër bot ñi nga xam ne seen loxo jotul seen gannaaw néew nañu dégg ne nguur gi jox na leen suuf bëgg nañoo xam wàll woo noonu beneen bi it mooy benn laajte rek baal dama ko fi jàlle benn rek non benn rek si des
non benn ku nekk benn nga waaw bu ne ñëwaat dina ñëwaat si yow ku nekk
benn Car City bi ñu doon dégg Old Yundum Car City the Car Dealers Association jëmmi jamono déggoon nañ ne dañ leen joxoon suuf Old Yundum ñu toog déggaat ne ni jëlaat nañ ko ba léegi amatuñ fu ñu leen joxoon ñoom leeru ci ñoom bëgg nañ ñu indi ak leeral ci wàllu jërëjëf
that side.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Musa Tamba, a second year political science student at the University of the Gambia. So as a concerned youth and a youth leader, I would like to direct my question to the Honorable Minister. And we've heard about the policies that you've mentioned so far. So land access for youth remains severely limited. Are there any specific programs or policies from your ministry to promote equitable land access for the youth? Thank you.
So we'll come back to you to answer the questions.
Just politics is politics. Talking keeps it alive. When we talk, politics is alive. When we don't, it's dead. So I don't want to personalize issues here. Both of them are citizens of this country who have great respect in the Gambia, who have sacrificed greatly in this country for the betterment of the Gambia. We respect everybody. Adama Barrow is a citizen, like Ousainou Darboe is a citizen. They both got allocated land. They have a right to it. And they develop it within the guidelines that they were allocated this land. But it's our responsibility to make sure that whatever is done according to law. And I believe that the allocations of both of them was done in accordance with the law. And I didn't want also for two of them to be singled out, be abused, be insulted, as what the media was doing. Because both of them, as I said, were qualified to be allocated land. So I didn't want to get in that debate of why shouldn't they get, when they are citizens, they should get. But what I can tell you, just to answer your question, to add to this one, you've just mentioned this one before I go to that one. Under this policy, I can assure you that that's why university students participated a lot in this policy. A lot of participation from the university. In fact, some of the consultants were from the university. We took a lot of information from the university, incorporated into the policy. Because we are expecting the graduates from this university that we are training will be the one to implement this policy. And therefore, I gave directive that they must engage the university at every level. So that these students who have studied the subject that we are interested in will be the one to benefit from these scholarships that we are going to award for them to go and study and take over the issue of land management and usage in the Gambia. But be rest assured that access has been addressed adequately in the policy. And you can read the policy. We have a few more days to give the final draft. And once you see something that you want to adjust, you are free to send your recommendation. It will be considered by a team of experts how feasible it is to incorporate it. But I can tell you that 99% of all the concerns of Gambians is in that policy. Any other question left? The Car Dealers Association. They are businessmen, like you and I. When I do business, I rent a shop. When I do business, I rent a store. Yes, we should have organized them 20, 30 years ago. Give them a big vast of land where they sell spare parts, they do mechanical work, they do all the things and sales. Unfortunately, it was not part of our planning. One of the few cities in the world where you find every meter a car garage, every meter a car dealer, every meter, everything is jumbled up. One of the few cities in the world. We have to regulate that. It's going to be another bitter pill, but we have to regulate together with the councils. We've made a pronouncement on that. Now, when I came in, they said they wanted a piece of land, and they were promised a piece of land. That's a thing of the past. We are now trying to get them a piece of land for them to go and sell cars there. You want to buy a car, you go there. You want to sell a car, you go there. You want to repair a car, you go there. But they cannot be in the city. If they are in the city, they must be in their own properties. They cannot occupy our highways to sell cars. We have to regulate this country. We have to put measures to protect our citizenry from accidents and all these other vices that are related to putting a fleet of cars on highways. This is one of the few countries that have not regulated this sector. We are trying to get them, even if we get them anywhere. People will meet them there. You want a car? You will go where the cars are sold. When you want a car in Nigeria, you go to Dede. You want a spare part, you go to Dede. Some of us who knows Nigeria, we know that. You go to Charoy when you want cars. You know where to buy them. In Gambia, every street, everywhere, every compound. You can find a dealer and a garage. Now they've even taken over Abuko, where we slaughter our livestock. They've taken over Abuko everywhere, every street. We need to regulate that. Look, in leadership, you must hold the bull by the horn and do the right thing. We have nothing against them. They are Gambia. But if they want to have a plot to sell, let them buy land and put their cars and sell. Nobody will stop them. But you cannot occupy our streets, use it to sell cars, make your money, and accuse the government of wrongdoing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we move further, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of two honorable ministers. Honorable Minister Abdou Diop, Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, welcome. Thank you for your support, as usual. Honorable Minister of Public Service, Honorable Boy is also here, and also thank you for coming, and thank you for your support, as usual. We'll go take another round of questions, one from this end and one from that end. We'll start with the gentleman here in front.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Mohammed M. Kamara. Yeah, thank you, Honorable Minister, for giving me the opportunity. Yeah, my question for the Honorable Minister is, it is widely observed that there is a strained relationship between your ministry and local government councils, especially the opposition-led councils. What steps are you taking to improve collaboration and build a stronger relationship with the council for the betterment of our citizens? Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll move to the next aisle. Yes, Auntie.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for your presentation. For me, I just needed some clarification on the taxation on fenced land. Fenced land. You said you are going to introduce tax on the policy. Yes. So, so no, I just. Yeah, no, I know. I just need.
That those who have money buying land to be police.
Yes. So no, I needed some clarification because whether there are going to be some kind of like it's going to be in a category form. Because I'm just thinking of like a civil servant like myself, earning about $10,000. So I apply for government allocation and I'm given allocated a piece of land. So now I gather some money, fence the land. I'm trying to gather some money to develop that land, and you start taxing me whether I'll be able to build a house. So I just wanted clarification whether it will be in categories, whether it's big land or it's just like 20 by 20. You'll start taxing me if I fence a 20 by 20. Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Minister, I want this consultant to put a bit of light on this, because they will be the expert, tax expert, that's not my domain. Let him enlighten her and the public what we are going to do with that.
Yes, can you please pass him the mic, please? Pass Mr. Ture the mic. The surname is the problem.
You're hungry, Okay, thank you very much, madam, for that value. Your question is relevant because it's a new introduction, and when you introduce something new, you need to educate the public about it, and that's why one of the things that we'll be engaged in the coming months to really properly sensitize people about some of the policy measures that have been introduced in the new land policy. One of the key things is the taxation of empty land. We all know that land is a gift from God, and land is meant to be a productive asset. Land lying, not being used, doesn't benefit anybody. And one of the key objectives of the policy is how do we use land efficiently and effectively for socio-economic development of the country, to address unemployment and poverty in the country. So really, we cannot have any piece of land here which will be lying idle, not being utilized. As the Honorable Minister rightly said, the well-off people bought almost one third of the country, and they fence it, and they are not using anything. They are not doing anything there. But they are doing what is to land grabbing, in anticipation for better prices in few years to come. We want to discourage that, so that at least if you put a tax on it, it will be a disincentive for them. Government doesn't want to force them and take it over from them. But what government can do that indirectly through taxation. If you introduce a tax, you pay tax, that will be a disincentive for people to own empty land. So they will just either sell, or they transform it and use it for housing, or they do agriculture if it is meant for agriculture, which will benefit somebody. So that's the whole idea around it.
But Honorable, right. Yes,
it's going to be categorized. In the urban area, 20 by 20 means something because it's meant for residential. You either have to put there, yes, considerations will be made. When we talk about productive use, if you are developing it, something is happening. But we cannot see the land lying there for years, nothing is happening there. If you go to the rural areas, 20 by 20 will not be taxed. But really, if you have huge land for agricultural purposes,
You live in Banjul and you still owe share because your grandfathers own the place. So nobody will farm there. That's going to stop.
Mr. Ture, just quick question.
Yeah.
I think what she's trying to say, how does the policy differentiate between someone who's hoarding and someone who lacks the wherewithal to develop?
Yeah.
I'm a civil servant.
Yeah.
My salary is 10,000.
Yeah.
I've been allocated a land.
Yeah.
I struggle to fence it. I'm struggling to build it. How do you know between me and someone who's hoarding? So the tax doesn't bring inequity, because that's going to be inequality.
No, but the issue of, if it is a state allocated land, definitely you've gone through the due process. Maybe not being able to develop it. If the land is not developed because you don't have the purchasing power, as the Honorable Minister said. So the policy considers that. Definitely there is consideration for that. What we don't want is people who are speculating land, which we know that people own land. When we were doing the consultation, the alkali of Talinyi told us that about a third of plots in Talinyi, about 20% of the plots in Talinyi, are empty. He doesn't even know the owners. And he was born in Talinyi. Huh? For over 30 years, those plots were empty. In fact, it's a nuisance in the town, because grass grows there, pests gets there, and thieves hides there. So something must be done. And if you look at it, somebody is holding maybe the document in Fajara or in Banjul or somewhere else who owns that land. So
I like the idea, because the idea is that because in other countries, the more land you have, the more tax you pay for the land. So you have people having 10 land and some who has no land. I think we need to create a disincentive there, and I like that idea. Honorable Minister, you have anything to add to that?
I just want to tell the director that it is the civil servants, the tax expert, who will be doing this job. It is not us, the politician. We only put the regulation, the guidelines. And the civil servants understand who is a civil servant, what you can pay, what you don't pay. And they know those who are hoarding to make money out of it. So they can make that judgment at their level. And I think the policy have indicated that. Yes.
Hello? We are working with the Ministry of Finance and the International Monetary Fund, that's the IMF, because this is a revenue area for the government. We are expecting almost $1 billion on land taxation annually.
Brilliant.
So really, we are going to hire a consultant, which is really going to look at the details of this, how the mechanisms, the structure, and the level of taxation.
All right.
So we are.
Thank you.
We'll now,
one more question.
Area councils. Let me tell you.
One more question.
Yes. He asked the issue of the area councils. You ask a very pertinent question. Very important question. These are elected officials who are elected by the Gambian people. They went into an election, they won. Therefore, they should be treated like any other council. And that's why when I came in, I engaged them. I visited them. I started dialogue with them. And that dialogue is working, is continuing. We are trying to do our best to resolve the crisis, to make sure that we all see eye to eye. We respect their mandate, they also respect the government in place. Being a mayor does not make you a minister. You are not a minister, you are a mayor. It does not make you a permanent secretary. You are not a permanent secretary. It does not make you a president. You are not. You are a mayor. You have a mandate. Do your job, we respect you with your job. But if you want to go beyond your mandate, then you create a problem. If you want to be president, wait until the time comes, you go and campaign to be president. That's your right. And I think our engagement with them is moving on. We hope that we can resolve the differences. Since they are elected, they have a mandate, they have a power. We respect that as a government. It's the nature of our democracy. So we must respect it. We are bound by law to respect them. They are also bound by law to respect state authority and work within the state.
Thank you very much. Now we'll move to the local languages. I'll only accept questions in Mandinka Wolof, and then the Honorable Minister and his team will respond in Mandinka Wolof, or Fula, or Jola, or Sarahule, or Manjago. But the local languages, please. No more English. Yes.
All right. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Usman Vite, and I work with Paradise TV Gambia. Okay, suma question bi mo nek bu demolition bi starté fi nga xamanteni mo nek Sallaji ak yenen place yi bi rew Gambia gis ne ñu bari dañ de complain ne alkalo si ñoo leen jaay land da nga gis ne yenen am more than one people ñoo xamanteni alkalo yi ñoo leen jaay land at the end of the day government bi mën nang ko ci gaay. What is the ministry doing in making sure that those alkalos and these traditional leaders who used to allocate land for people, you know, are being held into account? Lan la government bi def pour make sure ñi nga xamanteni ñoo nek alkalos yi ñu ngi leena tek sarta yu war si bu gaay jaayé land ñi nga xamanteni romb na benn nit wala ñaari nit ndax ñeneen ni ñu ngi ci sona bu baaxa baax. Thank you.
Jerejef. We'll take one more from that end in the local language, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Dr. Mohammed Ledi, Kente, University of the Gambia student on Monday. And I have a question. No question also to Keno Sorola Carola, Banco Ding, even Banco Kang. Imo Gambia Nodi, near after Keno San Yan, Banco Kang, Mobe Akalamata Kolega, near after Keno San, I said 20 by 20 sang 2.
Distance the mic from your mouth a little bit.
Okay.
So that we can hear you better. Go ahead.
Mbeken sanku wala diamolo pour que no soto like ite mu banko dingo do mu banko dingo dal be mu Gambia noti ale ñoo saban Gambia nya wulu nyala wala wulu silo lo matina ko Gambian do nyanta keno sanna 20 by 20 sanna 20 million or 16 million dollars isla wata do nyanta keno sanna e ka fa nyaadi ay ta ma fan dola wala sate do 20 by 20 kilo a sort of 400 million what difference ni anin ka je ko fana ko family line ka fo ntele mu turelti wala mu kintelti ni mu kintel kenoti nta bondi la nga wa fi sisela wala nga ite mu sisete nyaame do mu kintel nyaame do mu turete nyaal be mu gambe nolti
moni la nyinin karote
sai Mansa-Kunda nyan ministry ba mu nekke kam pour ka nin fatam fanso mi alon ko alan kene ma yaari ngole be laari like English ka me crystal clear fatam fanso ni wo fatam fanso ni mo Mansa-Kunda ne ministry ba mu ne kella pour ko bonni je
okay
mo be keno ni ta soto la ibota dawada imu famo fenti wo ye right soto le ko do right
ni karo senior I think it's equitable access to land. Yes,
let me help you
in Mandinka also.
Yes, madimbale le tuti rek. The land policy is talking about ownership.
In the local language, please.
Munge wa mbiri ngamuna mom yaw ya mom. There is a right for everybody. But protocol bi nga mom bobu sa right la ya ko mom. Boka am right the same in the country does not give you right pour nga nangu li ma am. Si se Kunda sen kabilo ñom mom sen la. Touré Kunda sen kabilo ñom mom sen la. Yow bi ne Gambian have right to land joxul la right pour nga dem nangu suufi kabilo Touré Kunda bi nga jël ko motax ñuy defal title pour ownership of community ownership communal nakala tudati land tenure ownership pour ku nekk ñu jox la kayit ne lii yéena ko moom li nga moom nag benn loi mayul la nit ñëw nangu ko salo right bari na de torop waaye right ku ne li nga am yaa ko moom right luñ bari suma right suma property mayul la right pour nga ñëw jël suma bos foo naa ne dañ mun a understand angle boobu tam waaw lu réew mi bu ko jël pour war ci def dara loi dafa am lu mu santaane fu mu war a jaar ba def loolu ownership is key am na ku laajte fii léegi
waaw affaire alkaalo ñu dee jaay land benn land jaa ko ñaar ñetti nit lan mooy seen lan ngeen nekk di def
lii ma tontu ko ci angale it's a very difficult question you ask me very difficult question. It was one of the most challenging moments for me. When I looked at this irresponsible behavior, criminal behavior of some of these people. I looked at it, I saw it was linked to alcalos, some Cabido owners, and some other unscrupulous Gambians, duping people, particularly in the diaspora. The diaspora became the biggest victims of this fraud. Some of them called me from America when we started this demolition. They call everywhere. And that's why I started suspending these alcalos. Some of them I even sacked them. Some of them I warned to make sure that they desist from getting involved in this matter. Let them do what is right. But the problem we had was when you arrest them, take them to the police, next 1 hour they are in the streets. When you arrest them for this criminal behavior, take them to the police, next 1 hour, 2 hours, they are also in the street like you and I. That's not for me to explain. I'm not the police prosecutor. But I'm just telling you some of the biggest problems that we face as a ministry. When these people are arrested, taken to police who should deal with them, next 1 hour, they're in the streets. How it happened, I have no idea. Just to tell you. But when I went on pursuing this, I found too many things there. Buying land is not buying a car. It's not like buying your Mbaseng or your Jesna. If you want to buy a land, you must do what you call due diligence. Demal nga laajte ndax la liñ lay jaay war na am ndax warta am ndax luñ la jox ndax borom a ko moom ndax borom moomu ko nga def lu ñoo ooyee vérification due diligence ba nga am lu wér balaa ngaa jox nit sa xaalis waaye nga toog rek nit ñi la damay jaay laan nga yëkkati $1 million $2 million jox ko nga dem next nga bëgg commencé fens keneen daal ko ne am naa kay maa fi moom kooku commencé keneen ñëw am naa kay ngeen demante ko fukki at du jeex sa xaalis kasara borom mi la jaay mu laa romba di wéy lu waa defu ko dara loolu moo tax sooy jëndal laan mégal sonne laan bi ngaa jënda you make a good due diligence on it and then you buy a proper land boo xam ne kenn du la wax paate dem ba I think let me just clear that point. But I also discovered some of them were really duped. There was a young man who came to me and said, I built a story building. And then I understand you are demolishing everywhere. I said to him, I'm going to demolish it out. I sent him out of my office. I went to bed. I slept over this. Very young man. So, ambitious. Then I looked at the possibility. Why? When he bought the land, it was not land that belonged to the person who sold him the land. But as a government, our state institution also could have done more to stop him developing that land to that level. Yes, the powers are vested upon fiscal planning, not to give you building permit. They will not get building permit. You go and give them notice to say, we're going to demolish your place because you cannot put a building here. Then there was a failure on that side too. The boy is wrong. He cannot be right. But then we could have also avoided him being in that position. But the physical planning officers also have a limitation. There should be the political will to implement, to get that law implemented. They are mere civil servants. So at the highest level, we should have the boldness to say, don't allow them to build there. If they put a block fence, go and damage it. There would never have been a story building. The guy would never have built and spent that much money. Next day, few days later, the boy came back to me. I looked at this boy, I said, look, let's try to find the solution of this matter. And he was not the only one. There are many of them. Then I called my team. I said, look inwards. What can we do to avoid a situation like this next time? So that once somebody is somewhere illegal, they have a lot of constraints. They don't even have vehicle to move. Not even vehicle to go and inspect the land and to serve notices. They don't have it. They were virtually incapacitated. Therefore, reinforcement becomes a problem. And we took it upon ourselves to make sure that we give them capacity, to make sure that they can reinforce the law, so that you, before you start building a story building, you are told to stop somewhere and then you don't complete the building. So we are trying to find a way how I can maneuver in this. You know, when young men come before you, sometimes it's not like a big man before you. You become automatically weak, because if it's young, energetic, dynamic, willing chap can build such things, and then some of them are innocent. They don't know even the law. They don't even know, with all their knowledge, education, with their degrees, they don't even know what to do in acquiring land. They have no idea. But there are those who know, they do it deliberately. So we have to find a way how we can balance this, how we can resolve this, how we can correct it to avoid this thing continuing. Both sides of all of us have to work together. And the policy is addressing this again. And the amendments we're going to have will also address these issues. And I just have one word, Mr. Minister. I am really disappointed sometimes with our university students. You know why? If you see 10 university students, none of them is reading science, engineering, technology. When you ask them, they say, I'm doing law and political science. Law and political science. Law and political science. Law and political science. Right now, we are looking for best university graduates in these fields that we want to send for the World Bank to sponsor. But 90% of them who comes to you, I'm telling you what I'm experiencing. When they come there, when I ask them, what is your field? Where the guy? They are political science. I did law. Look, we need to think different now. Nobody can do this job without getting the skills. Since we have the money ready to sponsor, we want people to study the areas that we feel will be of benefit to this country. If you have 10,000 lawyers, expect 20,000 problems. Yes, because they'll be competing the same resources. And I think we need to look at that seriously.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll take two more questions, one from this end. Nice. We'll take one lady, the young lady here over on this side with. Then after that, we'll take Pa Babu. We'll come to you, young lady, next time, please. Yes, thank you. Go on.
Nobody asking from the diaspora?
That's the diaspora over there. Yes.
Yes. Good evening.
In local language, if you can.
Okay. Dotomu Aminata Stilaldi. Finally, a journalism student.
Not political.
Yes. The question was directed to the minister. You are afojan loko. Nimulye cordal sang mul block from these low, like poor people. Yes. And yeah, sang coding.
I don't want to use the word poor. Let's use the word they are deprived.
Okay, the deprived people. So you tie bill your fensul kala, and then in the future maybe plan lekake real estate sulti or to have millions out of it in the next maybe 5-10 years. So alko albe tax bala lala wakam. So nimmel man tax jono government ba kenu nyintali bulokono. So lafta kalon le ning government yo kenota iba kala nyadi, is it going abakele tola tati o iba awafila banku dingola makoteke?
All right.
What are they going to use it for?
Okay.
That's what I
Thank you.
want
Abarka. I think she misunderstood what you said, but you clarify on that.
Yeah, I understand. I know what to tell her.
Yes, far from the diaspora, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Muna was English. I'm not honorable, but I'm answers English there. All right, thank you, Honorable Minister. I must commend you and your ministry for finally giving us a land policy. I think this was part of the reforms that were promised as part of the coalition. My question is mostly around affordability, especially on the TDA area. I just I was made to understand just a few days ago that from Bakau all the way to Tujarang, there is no more space with regards to TDA available land. So a lot of development is actually happening in terms of, apartments, that are mostly very expensive, for ordinary people to be able to get closer to the coastline. So what plans do we have for, I'm not talking about maybe deprived Gambians, but at least people who are maybe in the middle class or are earning close to maybe $20,000 a month. What plans do you have for those individuals to be able to get closer to the coastline? Because not only the rich should be living on the coastline.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Let me answer the question directly. I think, to be honest, I am not a specialist to determine whether the TDA from Bakawan to Jereng is full or not full. I just want to believe that you've made that assertion based on your information. And I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm also corroborating it. I just heard it, and I respect your view in that manner. But I can tell you that, you see, it is important to develop a middle class in a country. Because when you don't develop a middle class, you will not have deprived people graduating to the middle class. And you will not have people lifted from the middle class to the upper class. We cannot be equal. That is very clear. But we also cannot all live there. I'm living in a village because that's where I feel, I'm fitting in. I want to live in a village because I want to live with my cattle. I cannot live with my cattle there. So I have to live with them in the village. So my life is to be in the village. But there are others who choose to be in the big area, seeing the sea, flying everywhere. There are people who like that. But that means when you want to live there, you must be prepared to pull from your pocket to do that. Because it's your choice. You choose to be there. So your pocket has to be able to do that. Government cannot do that. Well, there are some private developments in some parts in the Gambia. You know that when the Jammeh regime, he deregistered some parts of the TDA when Yankuba Toure was minister. And that was sold out to individuals and companies that led to some of these people living in this area. Unlike other countries, they don't have a TDA. They are now in trouble. They come to Gambia to study our policy on land, on tourism land. I know a particular that have sent experts here when I was there. They came to find out how did Jawara came with the initiative, the Jawara then regime, to create a tourism development area to be reserved for the development of tourism and tourism-related activities. For them, even people going there with 5-star, they have nowhere to build it when people are even squattering by the beach. They did not know how this happened. So I think we must appreciate that we've done something good. But people who want to live there should be able to have the money to live in that place. That's one of my things that I believe. And it should be a choice. You want to live in the TDA area, and I pray that you have the pocket to be able to pull the money and get it done.
Thank you. The young lady's question about I think she had a misunderstanding about what you said about
taking the
putting
land.
tax,
yes, tax
on fenced land.
Yes.
That if somebody is not able to pay the tax and you revoke
yes.
and you take the land back, if you sell it, what will you do?
No, you don't sell it. Let me help you, madam. You see, if you go drive from here, you go to Banjul, you see some lands are fenced. Some are developed. Big story building, imagine. Some are fenced. Trucks are there. Nothing is done. Those are the type of people we are talking about. We are not talking about you and I, Paul Little, Kodu Jabang, Paul Little, Isa, or these people here owning one piece of land, struggling to build it. No. We're talking about people who own lands that were millions. They just put a fence there and keep it there only to sell it 5-6 years to come and make billions out of it. That's what the state is targeting.
Thank you. That's clear. Now we'll take You've already had a chance, yes. Then we'll go to the lady at the far left.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for the new land policy. I was in this very hall when the land policy was validated. Thank you so much for that. But my question is about the issue of allocating land to foreigners. Selling land to foreigners is at a high rate, and most of them is in the nucleus of the country, and this is at an alarming rate. What is your ministry doing to ensure that this is controlled, this is curtailed?
Thank you. I think Honorable will answer that in the local language, in Wolof, preferably. No, we'll get one more question from there. The lady at the far left.
Good evening, Honorable Minister.
I'm not hearing you.
Your mic is not on.
Good evening, Honorable Minister. My name is Fatmata M. Diallo from the Gambia Federation of the Disabled. And my question is directed to Honorable Minister. Many persons with disabilities in the Gambia faces challenges accessing land for housing, farming, or business due to systemic barriers and lack of inclusion in allocation processes. What measures is your ministry taking to ensure that persons with disabilities are fairly considered in land allocation scheme, especially under government initiative support? Thank you.
Let me give I met your president about 1 week ago. They came to see me. Kurbali, we discussed this, and I think I have alerted the policymakers or the drafters of the policy to capture this, because there was a wide range of participation from the disabled community in the land policy. And I would just allow Mr. Toure to take 2 minutes before I answer. There is a question pending, is it?
Yes, there's one question from the gentleman about foreigners buying land.
Yes, let me just hit that one and give you this. What I've discovered when I came to office, I saw files of people with ID cards. But big land, 300 meter, 400 meter. I signed one with a lot of skepticism. Next day, I saw another one. I said, wait a minute. I inquired. I didn't sign the packet. 3 days later, another one came. And now started seeing they were joining. They are hearing me. I'm not mentioning their names. People started joining. You and I go and acquire huge land there, put our names. And I started seeing all sort of ID cards. How are they getting these ID cards? I don't know. I dumped all the files there. They are still there till tomorrow. I will not sign them. And in our meeting with the chiefs, myself and the president on Sunday, I told the chiefs, those who acquired those land, those foreigners came from you and the alcalos. And you cannot sell this country. You cannot make this country for Fiji and other countries, where foreigners will come and own our little land, selling their land in their homes to come and buy land in the Gambia. We will not accept it. I made it categorically clear that we are not going to accept it. Not possible. I will not do it for anybody. And I refuse to sign it, and I will not sign it. And I'm waiting for them to take me to court. I will meet them there. One, we have to verify the authenticity of some of these ID cards. How they got it. Because the law is very clear. Right now, as we speak, there is a particular country in West South Africa which is debating a law to ban foreigners owning land. Right now, you go to Sierra Leone here. You cannot own land in the urban area as a foreigner. We have been too cheap. We have been giving away this country. For too much we gave away. And we need to put a stop to that. If not, our children, our great-grandchildren will have nowhere to live. They will be enslaved in this country. And it's high time Gambians to wake up to that danger that is looming, that's coming. Taking our land, selling it cheap to these people, only to fence it, to make millions out of it, or use it over us, we have to put a stop to that. It's not a popular statement with some people, But I think we need to send this signal across.
Thank you. Thank you. I think you wanted Mr. Ture to answer a particular question concerning the... Yes, please.
Yes. As highlighted by the Honorable Minister, we all know that the policy had been very, very inclusive and participatory. We had special sessions with GFD family, that's the Gambia Federation of Disabled, commonly known now as differently able people now. That's the new terminology. Yes. Yes. And really access to land, the access to land had been an outcry everywhere, from Basse to Kato. And the policy had been very, very clear in that. And there are a lot of recommendations in the policy that will ensure that marginalized people groups, like people living with disability, women and youths, have access to land. In fact, wherever government is going to allocate land now, when the policy comes into being, a special quota have to be given to this particular group. Youth, women, and people living with disability have to have a quota in the allocation. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Protect them.
Before we...
Mr. Minister, I want to recognize a brother of mine, a former minister, a former secretary of cabinet, who have served this country outstandingly. And all in the name of Mr. Abdullah Salah. Mr. Salah, let people see you.
Thank you very much. We are pleased to have him. It's a great honor. Before we go to the final set of questions, I have two questions from the diaspora. The diaspora are watching this program. The program is currently being shown live on at least 5 or 6 channels. Now, the first question, perhaps one of your members can answer it. What policies and plans does your ministry have in ensuring that lands are reserved for public parks for use by our people, particularly the young ones? The second question is, there are no shortage of good policies in the Gambia. What is, however, missing is effective actualization of the policies. What plans do you have to make sure that those who are entrusted with implementing these policies are held to account in the exercise of their duties? These are two very critical questions.
Let me answer the last one, and the other one I will get them to answer. First of all, we realize that the cadre of staff we have at the moment, managing land and land usage, need to have a new vision, a new way of thinking, and a new sense of direction based on public demand for the management of land. And that's why we approach the World Bank to recruit new cadre of people to be educated, to be given the skills to come and take over the management of land in this country. While we appreciate some of those that are still manning land, the efforts they have done, we still believe there is a lot of room for improvement in the management of land in the Gambia. And that's why it is important. Yes, you can have a policy, you can have a strategy, but if the implementer does not have the skills and the will and the ability to do so, you fail. And that's why we are trying to address these things, to make sure our young graduates who have proven, who have shown evidence that when supported, they would excel, to entrust them the responsibility to take over the issue of management of land in the Gambia.
Thank you. What about public parks?
Public parks have become very important for this government. And that's why the recent demolition was centered on public areas that have been taken over by individuals, sold illegally, and given away to people. Without parks, our youths, our children will have nowhere to recreate. And that is part of development. People's welfare, their level of happiness, their ability to go somewhere and recreate, march together, stay together, dance together, is part of development. And that is element that is missing. It's not only about building story buildings. It's about also creating an atmosphere where they can meet, they can gather, they can exchange, they can dance, they can merriment, and be part of a society that's a happy society.
Thank you very much. Final set of questions, one from this end and one from that end. I'll take the lady, unfortunately. I'll not take more questions. One lady, and do we have anybody on that side? And then Balanding.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Mariama Mjai, a third-year political science student. My question reads, Honorable Minister, how do you plan to involve the youth and women in regional governance and land decision-making processes? Thank you.
Balanding, finally.
Good evening, Honorable. My name is Balanding Jata, a second-year student, Diplomacy and International Relations, UT. Thank you. Thank you. Civil Service University. Okay. How will the new land policy ensure fair and transparent land allocation for ordinary citizens?
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. You can answer that.
You see, as I said, the issue of land allocation has to come from the hands of a minister. It has to go back to professional bodies that will determine who should be given and not the politician. If you give it to the minister, the crisis we face today in Brusubi Salaji will be the same thing. When the Land Administrative Board, Allocation Board was doing it prior to the coming of this country in 1997, we never had this problem. These were experts from various walks of life who will sit down and determine who should be given this piece of land, who should not be given. But if you now leave it in the hands of the minister, single-handedly to determine who should get and who should not get, that becomes a problem. The fact that we are abolishing that would address your problem. So that would, I believe 99% of the problem will be addressed.
Thank you. And then the question was about how do you involve young people in local governance decision-making and land issues?
I'll give Sisao to answer that question.
Thank you very much. I think during your presentation, Honorable Minister, you did talk about the fact that the Local Government Act is being reviewed. And essentially what we try to achieve through the revision is to not only to empower the councils, but also the youth involvement in the local governance is also something that is going to be critically embedded in that act. So in a sense, progressively, we are trying to review the Local Government Act in order to empower the councils, but also to improve communication between the ministry and the councils, but equally to involve the youth participation in the local governance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That comes very close to the end, but before we end, I'd like to give you 3 to 4 minutes in Wolof, just to summarize what we've discussed here today, but also any message that you have for the public, Honorable Minister. In Wolof, please. Yes.
maa ngi gërëm ñëpp sant leen bu baax kontaan lool ci ministre bi ak ministriem ak liggéeykatam yi ak suma ministre ak suma liggéeykat yi fi toog yépp di gërëm ñëpp ñi fi teew bàyyi seen soxla ñëw ministre yi fi ñëw ku mel ni Baboucar Boy mel ni Abdou Diop mel ni docteur Mr Abdoulaye Sall ak ñeneen nekk si mbooloo mi kilifa yu mag xàmmee naa leen fii ñun amuñ dara lu réew mi réew bu tuuti bii lañ amul fenn fuñ mun a dem bon nañ def lépp lu ñooy mun a def ñu gis ne suñu réew mi manage nañ ko wel ñun dinañ dem am na ñu fi nekkoon dem nañ waaye ba tey réew maa ngi fi bu leen nangu ñun politiciens si tax ngeen di reyante di xeexante bu leen nangu ñun polo yuus leen ngeen nekk ci mbedda yi di tampongante li am solo ci réew boo fa nekkee demal bax bu set boo eewoo ne tey damaa liggéey am dara tey dinaa liggéey am lu ma yóbbul suma yaay lu ma yóbbul suma jabar lu ma yóbbul suma sista mbaa lu ma yóbbul suma doom ku nekk bu xëyee na nga dem uti loo am te lépp looy am ko ci lu wér dafa am solo ci doomi aadama te ñun dëkk bi dafa tuuti te dañ fi dalal gan yu baree bare suñ biir te gan ñooñu bari nañ fi doole bañuñ gañ ku bugg a gan lañ waaye terewut tam ñun ñi moom réew mi ñu jublu si liggéey balaa gaay ji liggéey ba nangu suñu réew mi suñ loxo waaye nga eew tiim baraada ataaya doo xëy doo gontu jànguloo métier nekk social media di saaga wante di xasante utuloo loo am dëkk ci blackmail nit ñi du la yóbbu fen gannaaw la lay delloo Adama Barrow du jox kenn dépasse Ousseynou du jox kenn dépasse Amad Ba noon keneen noonu yow yaay liggéey lu jox sa dépasse sa njaboot di leen dundal bon li am solo ku nekk jëlal résolution ne su ma eewoo tey I will get something for my family ma xëy liggéey ko dama am lu ma seetlu ci réew mi lu daw yaram la man bët bu set man maay dem jëndi jën tànje man maa daan duggi marché jox suma njaboot ñu togg gis naa léegi su ma demee tànje bu njëkka Gambien si ñoo daan téye puus puus bi ma ñëw ekkati jox leen ñu yóbbu gis naa léegi doom yi beneen bëgguma tudda réew yi ñoo koy def ñu ngi liggéey nothing less than $5,000-6,000 a day dem leen fa tànje tey ngeen seet ñan ñooy téye puus puus du ma tudda turi réew ngeen seet ñiy téye puus puus bii boo jëndee jën pour dem sa oto ñan lañ tey suñ doomi Gambia yi 95% génn nañ ci jigéen ñi ñooy waas jën yi fi mu ne take over nañ that role ñun suñ moromi góor yi ñu nga taxaw fële di weerante soo demee di nga fekk jigéen ñu nga di waas jën bu ñu waasee ba pare du Gambien see koo téye léegi de dem leen foofu li maa wax dem ngeen gisal ko seen boppa tey soo buggee maçon Gambie fii amuloo ko fi ñeneen dëkk yi ñoo fi nekk maçon di aan $700 a day $600 to $700 a day suñ doomi réew yi toog si banta baay di waxtaan di xuloo di saagawante lebres tey pour tabax $300-400 soo ko soxlaa doo ko am réew du demee noonu foog ñu liggéey ñu jàpp te nañ bàyyi bañante bi soxorante bi defarante lu bon amul njëriñ ku nekk na bugg a moromam bugg a réew mi ñu liggéey ñun suñ time bu jeexee rek dañoo dem tey mun na nekk ay léegi ñu jógee fi ngeen toog waaye na fekk na ñu ngi bokk yéene defar suñu réew maa ngi gërëm ñëpp gërëm consultants yi gërëm ñëpp.
jërëjëf honorable minister salon head bi. Thank you very much, everyone, senior government officials here, ministers, advisors, peer permanent secretaries, DPSs, governors, directors, but particularly a big thank you to the Honorable Minister Hamad N.K. Ba and his entire team. Please a round of applause for him and his team, his PSs and DPS. They did a fantastic job, outstanding. Members of the press, but today I cannot end this program without singling out someone who I need to thank specially. That is Haruna Drame. What we see is the production. He does everything behind the scenes. He's been helping the ministry since the onset. Without Haruna, I don't think the Ministry of Information would be doing what we are doing. So Haruna, thank you very much for your support. We appreciate it. And thank you to students from the University of the Gambia. Thank you everyone, the media, all those who are watching at home. Next week, I think on the 25th is our next Mansa-Kunda if all goes well, and we'll have the Ministry of Fisheries as well. That is Honorable Musa Drame to discuss about the fishing sector. Mbadi ngol mbaten tulambal jela bidung na Mansa-Kunda danta janne milyalon ko bi wolle ndima programme to wala media household ni miyalan ko wolle bijang minister ni director sol ni permanent secretary sol ni DPS sol baby jambi and senior government officials mbaten tulambal jela mba falale ko Mansa-Kunda biya jata bake bari be min fango tentulam mani mbaralo minister fanfongoti honorable Hamad NK Ba anala team momol be yedo ko kenda bake bi katani banko dingol la ala ministre be mundo ko si falella mbokay di len sante di len gërem di len wone Mansa-Kunda bi jeex na tey di gërëm ñëpp nag ñëpp ñu ñëw ministre yi directeurs yi advisors yi PS yi DPS yi ak ñi nga xam ne ñoo jógee si université bi ak képp ko xam ne ñoo na fité pour ñoo teewee programme bi waaye ki ñoo gën a gërëm di ko jaajëfal mooy minister of lands mooy ki nga xam ne moo yoree mbiri suuf si honorable Hamad NK Ba ak ñim àndal def nañ liggéey bu rafet ñoo nañ fi wax ñu li ñoo def kon tey kumpa bi nekkatu fa si moom li moo liggéey di jaajëfal ñëpp nag ba ñu jox leen dig daje ba beneen yoon jërëjëf